Look closely. What do you see? These are two gorgeous babies, but would you believe if I told you that they are twins? These twins were born to dark-complexioned Nigerian parents. Yes, I mean the husband dark, and the wife is also dark like me. How could these be? Or probably one of the babies was switched at birth. I guess I'm think out too loud. Okay, let's get back to the story. These babies had skin colors that were starkly different. Few weeks after Shioma had an ultrasound, she gave birth to twins named Ken and Kent via cesarean section. The doctors delivered two healthy baby boys, bringing joy to Shioma and Roland. Despite being thrilled to expand their family, the delivery itself was overshadowed by Shioma being unconscious during the twins' birth. They already had a 4-year-old daughter, Ebere, who they showered with love and attention. But they had wanted more children, so the news they were going to be having twins had been enough to make them dance. Fast forward to the day Shioma gave birth. While the mother underwent surgery, the doctors removed the babies. Ken emerged first, exhibiting typical African-American features such as dark skin, brown eyes, and curly hair. However, upon delivering Kent, the doctors were astonished by his appearance. Unlike his twin Ken or any of his relatives, Kent was entirely white with golden hair. How could this be? The doctors wondered how twin boys could be so different. Was it not the same sperm and egg that conceived them? The doctor could not get the second question out of his head once it occurred to him. He had heard about a rare instance of heteropaternal superfecundation very recently. A phenomenon occurs when a woman gives birth to fraternal twins who have two separate fathers. The fact that the woman releases two eggs during ovulation and engages in sexual activity with two separate males during the same cycle is what makes this possible. It might lead to the fertilization of two eggs by the sperm of two distinct males, producing twins who have separate biological fathers. However, the implication of the speculation was that Shioma must have cheated on her husband. He banished the thought. It would be best to speak with the couple first. When Shioma woke up hours after the surgery, there was a nurse in the room with her. She asked for some water, and once she quenched her thirst, she asked to see her sons. The nurse thought it would be fair to warn her before bringing the babies, and so she did. Shioma stared at her, frowning. Did the nurse just say that one of her sons was white and had golden hair? What did that even mean? First, she insisted on seeing the twins. When two nurses brought Shioma's infants, her eyes looked as though they might burst out of their sockets. "Are they certain that she owns both of them?" she asked. The nurses confidently declared that they were. When Shioma delivered birth, they had been present in the labor room. Shioma, who was a little skeptical, called her husband Roland. She showed him the twins when he arrived, and her expression told him she was totally confused about it all. But while his wife was sleeping, Roland had already seen the twins. Though he was perplexed by what had happened, his heart was overflowing with love for his kids. He didn't think for a second that there might be foul play, whether on the medical side or Shioma. All he knew was that his wife and children were healthy. The couple met with the doctors to find out why Kent looked like he did. The doctor started by asking about the couple's relationship with each other and how it had been in the past 10 months. It was an odd question, but the couple replied, being as open-minded as possible. Their relationship was great, and they had excellent communication. As for attraction to each other, it was as strong as when they were newlyweds, or they wouldn't have conceived their twins. Carefully, the doctor approached the subject of heteropaternal superfecundation. Shioma was so shocked at the implication that she sputtered, but a part of her was glad that the doctor brought it up because she suspected that the thought of her being unfaithful must have crossed Roland's mind. She didn't want that ugly shadow of doubt cast on their marriage, and breaking the trust between them. She agreed without question when the doctor teasingly suggested a blood test to establish the paternity of both sons. Roland clearly exhaled as the results of the blood test showed that he was, in fact, the twins' father. He had total faith in Shioma, but it was good to get confirmation. Now that this was resolved, the physicians looked closely at Kent and saw that he was an albino based on all the indicators. A person with albinism is called an albino. Lack of melanin, the pigment that gives skin, hair, and eyes their color, is a genetic marker for albinism. The cause of albinism is a mutation in one of the several genes involved in the production of melanin or its transportation within cells. Shioma and Roland were startled. How could their son be albino, whereas there were no albinos in either of their immediate families? Fully understanding the couple's predicament, because even as doctors they'd never seen anything like the twins before, the doctors endeavored to educate the couple to the best of their knowledge. Usually, most children who are albinos inherited it in an autosomal recessive pattern, meaning that both their parents are carriers of a mutated gene, although they are not albinos themselves. However, there is a 25% possibility that each pregnancy will result in an albino child who inherits both copies of the mutant gene from its carrier's parents. They have to have had the gene then. Because of his albinism, Kent would require special care and be vulnerable to various health problems. Due to a lack of melanin, he has golden white hair, pinkish eyes, and extremely pale skin that is prone to sunburn. He could have visual problems, such as light sensitivity and uncontrollably moving his eyes. The physician helped them realize that anyone, regardless of color or ethnicity, could have been born with albinism. In fact, it affected animals too. For every 3,000 to 20,000 babies born, there was a chance that one of them was albino. There is currently no cure for albinism, but the good news is that it doesn't get worse. They could lead a fulfilling life with proper management that includes sun protection, vision correction, and all-around support. Although in Nigeria, where the couple was based, had one of the highest albinism rates in the world, with over 2 million albinos estimated to live in the country, albinos were still regarded as an oddity. When one of the twins is spotted, people would look twice and pay great attention. An albino wasn't a typical human being to some Nigerians. They considered them to be cursed creatures, or people with magical abilities. Some even picked conflicts with them or openly discriminated against them as a result. In certain societies with limited awareness, a person with albinism used to be viewed as an outsider, based just on their appearance. They were even treated as second-class citizens by these communities, who believed they should not be granted all of the basic human rights. It even sparked instances of cruel treatment of albinos. They have been the focus of mockeries, severe bullying in schools, workplace harassment, and rituals. Shioma had seen a case or two firsthand back then. She hadn't been too involved, dismissing the incident as normal human prejudice. But now that she had an albino son whom she loved dearly, she was terrified. How would people perceive him? Would he be okay out there in the world? It was true that Shioma and her family live in the mega city of Lagos, which had a higher proportion of educated individuals than many other areas and would not discriminate against Kent. However, people may act inhumanely cruelly. That had troubled Shioma. Her husband held her close and reassured her that they would do everything in their power to safeguard their son when she confided in him. Despite the couple's pessimistic expectations, the twins received a lot of praise from the hospital. When the nurses saw the twins in Shioma's room, everyone flocked to see them and commented on how adorable they were. All they had to say about them was praise. Shioma was relieved to see that her children were not thought upon as oddities. She and Roland had already decided that come whatever, they would unconditionally love and protect their boys. 4 days after Shioma gave birth, she returned home. Just like the nurses at the hospital, their neighbors were stunned at the twins' appearance. They would not stop praising the lads, especially Kent, referring to him as Oyinbo, which translates to white man. Shioma thought the brothers' twins were unique, as they were uncommon twins. Neither she nor the other individuals they encountered had ever seen anything like them. Ebere, their 4-year-old daughter, was curious about why Kent had the appearance that he did. She was fascinated as her parents carefully described this disease to her. It was, in her opinion, the coolest thing ever. Her health was the only thing that worried her. She didn't want her younger brother to get in any kind of trouble. Ebere was the one who began to watch out for any indications that Kent was uncomfortable, and she was the one to call her parents into action when she saw that Kent was blinking excessively due to the bright bulb. She would either turn it off or decrease it. She watched him every time he ate to make sure there were no adverse consequences from the food. Due to his albinism, Kent was unable to eat everything, thus his family had to be careful about what they fed him. As Ken and Kent grew older, people's admiration of them increased. Shioma was a fashion designer, and she often attired the twins in matching adorable outfits. When people saw it, they were full of praise for the brothers and the clothes. They wanted the exact outfits the boys wore, and Shioma sold it to them. Her boys' success caused her business to soar. She saw a chance to increase the twins' visibility online as a result of these encounters. She felt instinctively that they would succeed. They debated this issue and decided to forward with creating pages on TikTok and Instagram for the twins after speaking with Roland. I gained an amazing 120,000 followers on Instagram just months after she did, making them internet celebrities. Their trip, distinctive looks, and endearing personality inspired many. Their increased exposure allowed them to secure a number of highly sought-after brand agreements. A complimentary gift was delivered to Kent by a skincare firm that makes items especially for albinos to prevent them from getting skin patches that could eventually turn into cancer. His skin looked great after using it. Shioma provided an excellent online video review to support the company's goals. The twins' journey took a drastic turn when a London-based photographic firm came across them on social media. Attracted to the boys' alluring looks and poignant narrative, they contacted Shioma with an offer for the boys to be models. It was a dream come true and a brand new, thrilling chapter in the family's lives. With all of the affection the twins were getting, Roland and Shioma became at ease. They had no idea that something awful was going to happen. When the twins started elementary school, it all began. From the very beginning, they were eager to play and meet new people. They had just turned 4 years old. Despite being older than the other twin, Kent was the taller one. For the twins, it made no difference how tall they were. They stayed as close together as possible. But after a few weeks of elementary school, it was clear to both of them that something was awry. Kent was the target of unwarranted bullying from their classmates. Usually, the boys always sat together, but on this particular morning, one classmate came up to them and asked Kent to find another seat because he wanted to sit there next to Ken. This student was a well-known bully who frequently caused other children to cry. Though a little apprehensive, Kent refused, lifting his chin. The bully fumed and took action. He shoved Kent out of the chair. Startled, Kent stood up and questioned why he had pushed him. "Sitting near my twin brother should not be a sin that demand this," Kent snapped back at the bully. However, the classmate yelled at him, calling him fake and not looking like his twin. He asked Kent to stop pretending he was brothers with Ken when everybody knew he was adopted. After that day, not a single student helped Kent out. They snickered behind his back, calling him fake and adopted. They seemed to find it funny, but it hurt Kent's feelings a lot. Ken tried to make him feel better by giving him his snacks and playing with him at break because no one else wanted to. But Kent knew that no matter what his brother did, Ken couldn't make him stop being treated like an outcast by their classmates. Their teachers didn't help matters. They were aware of the children's treatment of Kent, the albino twin, but they turned a blind eye or made feeble attempts to correct the children. Although Ken wasn't a target because he was like the others, He was as sad as Kent because he felt his brothers hurt. Both of them started to lose weight, and their interest in school waned. They didn't want to tell their parents what was going on because their classmates had threatened to be meaner to Kent if they snitched. Everything got to a tipping point when the end of the term drew close and the children were to prepare a drama presentation. Kent suited the lead role the most, and since the teacher heading over the drama unit was fair, she gave it to him. Kent was so excited about it, and that was all he could talk about at home for weeks. But on the presentation day, Shioma and Roland saw Ken playing the role, and he was rather grumpy about it. It appeared as though he deliberately sabotaged the drama. When their parents confronted the boys about this, they made lame excuses, and their teachers were no better. The parents began to make connections at that point and realized their boys hadn't been the same for a while. They had no choice except to act decisively. Although Roland was employed in a furniture-making company, he was well connected. One of them was persuaded to put a camera in the boy's backpack for school. This acquaintance joined Roland's scheme since he also adored the lads. They gave Kent a toy watch that was actually a sound recorder and put a tiny camera on his school bag. Through these devices, their parents found out the heartbreaking truth. There was video footage of the child bully pushing Ken and Kent eating lunch alone looking sad, and how their teacher ignored Kent. Whenever he asked question, but she answered everyone else. The hardest part was when Kent was the sole recipient of an unfair punishment from the teacher. She assured him that as long as he attended this school, she would handle him. Kent was not the lead character in the drama, the spiteful teacher acknowledged. When she had first met the theater teacher, she had given her falsehoods about Kent, including how he was arrogant, had trouble relating to other kids, and that his skin tone would affect his performance. Since Ken and her brother were both talented performers, she had suggested to the theater teacher that they utilize Ken. She got what she wanted. Unknown to her, the voice recorder that was in Kent's watch recorded everything. When Shioma and Roland listened, they wept. The injustice of it all was too much. They involved the school authorities and the police. The school authorities fired the nasty teacher and expelled the bully. The teacher was then imprisoned by the authorities for injuring a student in her charge. She paid a heavy bail before she was released. Additionally, the boys' parents pulled their twins out of that school and got them into a better one. Children of all ethnicities and skin tones were welcomed at their new school. The twins quickly recovered their lively selves there and enjoyed it. Shioma talked about the bullying incident online, unable to let it go because of how much worse it may have gone had they not found out. The instructor and school administration came under fire from the public for not doing enough to safeguard the students under their supervision. Shioma and the twins received lots of encouraging remarks. Regardless of appearance, people must learn to love and accept one another. I'm so happy you learned and were able to save your sons in time. Instead of turning against one another, they remained united. You brought up such lovely kids, is a common compliment. There were plenty more just like it. This is what occurred to them as they approached their 5th birthday. The family was eventually able to get past the unpleasant experience of the school bullying. Rather, they shifted their attention to the twins' approaching August 4th birthday. The parents prepared many matching outfits for them, ranging from native Ankara wares to beautiful floral shirt designs for boys. They posed in the same way, wearing matching shoes. Shioma received a lot of positive feedback after sharing the photos on Instagram. The twins were greeted with warm birthday wishes and welcomed into a new era by people from all across the world. Both of them are excited about the promising future that lies ahead of them. Regarding the Ken and Kent, they are still strengthening their relationship, and people are motivated each time their story is told. Our willingness to love others defines who we are, not how we seem. This is the moral of the story. What would you do if you witnessed unfair treatment based on discrimination? Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for watching.